Well, shalom, shalom. I'm Barbara, and I'm always short and sweet. What is good about Good Friday? Well, it's believed that the name Good Friday comes from the term God's Friday, which was eventually shortened to Good Friday. In addition to its religious significance, Good Friday is also a public holiday in many countries around the world. In some places, there are also traditional practices associated with Good Friday, such as the reenactment of the Stations of the Cross or the eating of hot cross buns. Well, Jeremiah 7:18 says something about making buns for the Queen of Heaven. The children gather wood, the fathers kindle the fire, and the women knead dough to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven. And they pour out their offerings to other gods that they may provoke me to anger. What is Good Friday all about, and why do Catholics eat fish on Good Friday? Catholics eat fish on Good Friday as a form of penance and abstinence to commemorate the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, who died on the cross for their sins, because meat was historically considered a luxury and is warm-blooded. Abstaining from it serves as a sacrifice, while fish is considered a lower, cold-blooded alternative. Catholics are required to abstain from eating meat on Ash Wednesday and each Friday in Lent, including Good Friday. Fish is often used as a substitute for meat-based meals. On Good Friday, it's tradition to eat fish rather than meat. According to Christians, Jesus sacrificed his flesh on what is known as Good Friday, and this is why traditionally people abstain from meaty flesh on Good Friday. So let's find out more about it. Remember, in the early times when the Christian church was being formed, there was all the symbols and traditions of paganism. So to assure greater assimilation with the up-and-coming Christian narratives that were growing in the Roman Empire, they simply mixed paganism with Christianity, creating a completely false belief that had false worship of the Messiah. Friday. Freya's Day is the origin of the word Friday, and this is the ancient and long-forgotten reason that fish was a traditional meal on Fridays for many pagans. And the fish was a well-known symbol of fertility among the ancient Babylonians, as well as the Assyrians, the Phoenicians, the Chinese, and others. So who is Freya? Well, she is the fish goddess, and Freya was an ancient goddess whose sacred symbol was the fish. And her holy day is the day that was named after her, Friday. And Freya's Day is set aside to honor by eating fish on her special day. And she is also known as the Queen of Heaven. And here is Mary, Queen of Heaven. Remember, a lot of symbolisms came from paganism. So the fish symbol has been used for millennia worldwide as a religious symbol associated with the pagan Great Mother Goddess, the fish goddess Freya. The fish symbol of the pagan Great Mother Goddess, the fish symbol was often drawn by overlapping two very thin crescents. And here you see Sibyl and Onanes, and also the Pope's mitre. So the worship of the pagan god Dagon, according to ancient mythology, Dagon was the father of Baal, and he was the fish god. Dag in Hebrew means fish, and he was represented as half man and half fish creature. Well, there's something fishy going on in Western religion. Why is the Pope's mitre hat shaped like a fish? And I did a video about this I'll leave for you below. Freya, also known as Frigga, the Queen and All-Mother. Other names for the Queen of Heaven are Semiramis, that would be Babylon, Venus, Rome, Aphrodite, Greece, Ishtar, Assyria, and Asherah, Phoenicia. So here is Ishtar, and it's also pronounced Easter. Easter was originally the celebration of Ishtar, the Assyrian and Babylonian goddess of fertility and sex. Her symbols, like the egg and the bunny, were and still are fertility and sex symbols. Or did you actually think eggs and bunnies had anything to do with the resurrection of Yeshua? Easter is the Queen of Heaven. And here it says in 1 Kings 11, for Solomon went after the Asheroth, which would be Easter in English. And in Hebrew, it says Asheroth is Easter in English. In Judges says they forsook the Lord, they forsook Yah, and they served the Baals and the Asheroth, or the Easter. And Easter is replaced by Resurrection Day by the Roman Emperor Constantine. Constantine is the emperor that joined paganism with Christianity. The priest of Easter would sacrifice infants, human babies, and you see many babies will be born around December 25th from those sex orgies that began on the Feast of Ishtar in the spring. And then, horribly, many of these babies would be sacrificed the following Easter. The priest would then take the eggs as symbol of fertility and dye them in the blood of the sacrificed infants, which is horrible. So anytime you're dealing with Easter eggs and dyeing them and Easter egg hunts, you are participating in an ancient pagan culture that dealt in blood sacrifice and the worship of the mother goddess. Are people unknowingly celebrating a pagan fertility festival under the guise of honoring the death and resurrection of Jesus, Yeshua? So what is good about Good Friday? Good Friday has nothing to do with the crucifixion day of our Messiah. So remember, Hosea 4:6 says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge because they've rejected knowledge. And he said, I will also reject you. So if this is a blessing to you, please share it with your friends that love Yeshua. Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers in her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And remember, I'm short and sweet, and I'll be back next time, Yah willing. So please share this with people that are keeping Good Friday, they're keeping Easter, they think they're doing a good thing, but it all has pagan roots. So thank you for being here today.